Hi guys, in this lesson we're going to look at the intersecting of lines. Now you've done lots of things on straight lines by now. You've got the equations y is equal to mx plus c, or the other equation y minus y1 is equal to m times x minus x1. So you know those formulae by now, you've practiced them a lot, but now we're going to do different things with these lines because normally they combine a straight line with other graphs. For now we're just going to look at two straight lines intersecting. Good, and the best way as always is to do an example. Now, this example one has got a lot of subsections. Just before we start, you agree with me there where two lines cross or intersect. On that specific point there, P, that point P, they are exactly equal. So it doesn't matter what the orange line's coordinate is on P or the blue line's coordinate, it will be exactly the same because they are intersecting there. And now you've got a clue how to do intersecting lines. You just need to put the two equations exactly equal because on that point they are exactly equal. But now if you look at this one, I've got one equation here, but I've got only 2 points. I do not have an equation for AB. So even without them asking, if they just ask me, go and find the point P, because in an exam, most probably they'll just ask you, go and find the point P. You will need to find the AB equation first. But here they were good and kind to you. They said, find the equation AB, the line AB. What do we use? One of those two formula. Let's just see what we have. We have 1 point here, so I'm just going to number it x1 and y1. We've got 1 point there, which I'm going to number x2 and y2. Why do you think we're going to do that? Because I've got only 2 points. I've got nothing else. So I haven't got an m or a c or anything like that. So I will have to find my gradient. And by now you know very well, if I find a gradient, it is y2 minus y1 over x2 minus x1. And that will give me empty brackets. Oh, good. Let's see. Y2 is 6 minus 2. X2 is 4 minus 6. And that will give me m. 6 plus 2 is 8. 4 plus 6 is 10. And 2 go in there, 4/5. So there I found my gradient. Now the minute I've got my gradient and a point, we had a whole lesson on that, I just do this nice formula, y minus y1 is equal to m times x minus x1. Now you can pick any point. Hopefully, you're not going to pick the point with the minuses in. We make mistakes with minuses. So leave that point. We can choose the positive one. And I'm going to do y minus empty bracket 6. M I found, 4/5. X minus empty bracket 4. And if I write this neatly, it will be 4/5 x minus 16 over 5 plus 6. Good. What do you do now? You just simplify it. I just want to show you something. I just said 16 over 5. Whenever you work with fractions, it's always good to make the other one a fraction as well. So just put that 4 over 1, then you can see 4 times 4 is 16, and 5 times 1 is 5, and you don't have to worry. Good. 4/5 x. If you want to make that one also fifths, it will be 16 over 5. 6 times 5 is 30 over 5. It just makes it easier. So y will be equal to 4/5 x. 30 minus 16 is 14 over 5. 14 over 5 is 2 and 4/5. If you look at this line there, it is definitely a plus y-intercept. So I can't check myself accurately exactly, but I can check that I have the correct sign. And because I see the orange line is going through the positive part of the y-axis there, I hopefully know that my answer is correct. Good. Now, as always, I'm taking this off so you can go and do all the practice. There's a lot of practice in this unit. So if you go and do that, you will be fine. Good. After you've done it, automatically, there's always the answer written out neatly for you. And you can pause it and you go and check it thoroughly at your own time. Good. Determine the coordinates of P. That is what I said. P. Sometimes they're going to start straight away by asking, find the coordinates of P. Now, I just rewrote the equation that we got just now on the previous page because I need now that equation and I need the blue lines equation because I need to equate them. I need to put them equal because on that spot P, they are equal. But look at this ugly formula here. It's not in the correct order. 4y plus 5x is equal to 3. I need to get the y all alone, so I take the 5x over. I need to get the y all alone, so I divide by 4 all over. And there is my other equation. So now the one equation is this one here, and the other one is this one here. Now I've got both lines equations. You see it's ugly fractions, but we need to practice a little bit with fractions because we make so many mistakes with it. So what do we do now when we want the point P? We equate the two equations. So because I've got a y here, and I've got a y there, and I know it's exactly the same y, I can equate the right-hand sides as well. So I can say 4 over 5x plus 14 over 5 is equal to minus 5 over 4x plus 3/4. Now, do you like to work with fractions? I'm sure not. Nobody likes that. So if you've got an equation with stuff on both sides of the equal sign, get rid of your fractions immediately. There's a 5 and a 4, so I need to multiply by the LCD, the lowest common denominator. You don't even need to know those words. I need to multiply with something that can cancel the 4 and the 5, which is 20. So if I multiply by 20 here, the 5's cancel, so it will be 16x. The 5's cancel, 14 times 4 is 56. If I multiply there by 20, the 4's cancel, so it gives me minus 25x. The 4's cancel, 3 times 5 is 15. You can just, I didn't write it out now. On each figure, you can actually write there, times 20. Times 20. It's now very ugly here, but if you do that, you can easily see what cancels and what not. I multiply, because I do it on both sides of the equal sign, I may do it. And now I haven't got any fractions anymore, so I'm bringing all my x's to the left-hand side, which gives me 41x. If I add the 25, 15 minus 56 gives me minus 41. I don't want the x with something in front of it, so I divide by 41, and aren't I lucky? It's just minus 1. A very easy answer, but that is just half a point. That's now half of the point P. So now I still need to find the other half. Now you can pick whichever equation is easiest. Actually, in this case, they're both full of fractions. So I'm just going to pick the first one without any minuses in. And I'm going to say 4/5 x plus 14 over 5. And because I found the x now, I can make it minus 1. Just remember to always pick the easiest point. If you've got an option, pick the one without minuses. And remember, if they ask you to find a point, they want an x and a y value. Whenever you've got the x value of an equation, you just substitute it in, and that will also give you the y value. So it's minus 4/5 plus 14 over 5. Luckily, the same denominator all over. 14 minus 4 is 10 over 5, and that gives me 2. So therefore, my point P is where x is minus 1 and y is 2. Now I can go back to my sketch. You remember, they gave us the sketch, so I can check carefully. That could be minus 1, and that could be 2. It looks totally possible, and hopefully I'm right. I'm sure I'm right, and you can now go and retry it all on your own. After you've done that, as usual, you can go and check your answer. There, everything is written out neatly. Good. Next question. Show that this FG is perpendicular to AB. So if they ask me to show that they are perpendicular, you remember in the previous lesson, whenever you read a word that you know a formula for, you write down the formula. What was perpendicular formula? M1 times M2 is equal to minus 1. Now, when they say show that FG is perpendicular to AB, show that means you do not know it yet. It looks like it if I look at the sketch, but we may never go according to looks. So I need to go and prove it. Whenever you need to prove or show, and this is a very, very important hint, so I'm going to write it here. Whenever you read the word show or prove, you need to do the left-hand side separately and the right-hand side separately and check if they are equal. If you in the very first line already write, M1 times M2 is equal to minus 1. So I did it here, but I'm going to make a question mark. This is what they want to know. I cannot write it down straight away because then I'm telling they are perpendicular. I need to show or prove. So let's just write that word there as well. Show or prove always means you do only one side at a time. So I'm going to just do the left-hand side, which is M1 times M2. Now, if you can recall on the previous page, the one M was 4/5. The other M was minus 5 over 4. If I multiply that, I get minus 1 because it's cancel, 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 cancel. So it gives me minus 1. Therefore, M1 times M2 is equal to minus 1. You can actually write there is equal to the right-hand side. And therefore, my final answer, FG, is perpendicular to AB. Remember, they did not ask you the formula. They asked you to show or prove that those lines are perpendicular. So that is your final answer needs to be, yes, they are perpendicular, and this is the sign for perpendicular. Good. How did I do show or prove? I did only one side at a time. Never both, because then you're going to get 0 for the whole thing. Good. I actually need to leave that there. So let's just quickly do that. I'll do that on the answer. Again, if you've redone it on your own, you will see that you've got the right answer. I'm just going to show you. If they say the word show or the word prove, because you need to remember that, do left-hand side separately. Sometimes it's the right-hand side, but you only do one side at the time. Most of the times it's the left-hand side. Good. Next question. Again, show that FG bisects AB. What does bisect mean? Cut right in half. Bisect, bicycle, 2 wheels, cut in 2 pieces. And that is 2 equal pieces. So they want to know if this P does cut this line AB in half. So what are you going to do? You already worked out the coordinate of P. Remember it was minus 1 and 2. Now you're going to check if you work out the midpoint of line AB. Revision, midpoint. We use a capital letter M. Midpoint. Can you remember? You add the 2 x's. You divide by 2. You add the 2 y's. You divide by 2. And that should give you the midpoint. So let's just make that x1 and y1. And let's make this one x2 and y2. So if I add them, it will be 4 minus 6 over 2. The other one will be 6 minus 2 over 2. And that gives me minus 2 over 2. And that gives me 4 over 2, which in the end gives me minus 1 and 2. P was also minus 1 and 2. Now you say, therefore, FG bisects, because that was the actual question. So you needed to test if that point, if you find the midpoint, if it is also the point P. If it was not equal to the point P, you would have said, no, it does not. That point P does not bisect the line. Good. You're going to do it all on your own again. And after you've done it, luckily, you can see the answer there. Very easy. There it is. Good. Now, the last question, or the last example, you see this one looks different. Now, suddenly, there's not a line anymore. There's different lines, different things on the lines. It's actually a triangle. So what are they asking? Determine the coordinates of D. So D is my unknown. The midpoint of AC. So I need to remember that D is the midpoint. Now, we just now did midpoint, so no explaining. We can just quickly do x1 plus x2 over 2. And we can do y1 plus y2 over 2, which we did just now. And I'm just going to number this one x1 and y1, and this one x2 and y2. So if I work that out, it will be 6 plus 6 over 2. This one will be 4 minus 2 over 2. It will be 12 over 2, which is 6. And 2 over 2 is 1. So that would be the point 6 and 1. Now, if I put it there, this is the point D. Remember, I'm just going to put a D now in front because they asked you to find the point D. If you now go to your sketch, which luckily they've drawn for you, you can check that D. It is possible that 6 is there and 1 is there somewhere. You can see it clearly on your sketch, so you know you're on the right track. And they only ask you to find the midpoint, nothing else, so there's your answer. Good. Again, you're going to redo it on your own. Lot of practice. Maths is always a lot of practice, so the more you do it, the easier it becomes. And then after you've done it yourself, you will see there is the answer. Good. Second question. Determine the equation of the straight line BD. Oh, I do not have a D or there is a B. You remember you worked out D just now? D was 6 and 1. So there's the line BD. This is the line that they want you to find the equation of. Now remember, I have two different formulae that I can use, either mx plus c or the other longer one, which is actually the shorter method. Let's see what we have. We have 1 point and another 1 point. I don't have the c, I don't have the m, I don't have anything that I can just straight away fill in. So I have to go back to my old methods. I need to find the gradient, which is y2 minus y1 over x2 minus x1. If I do that, let's just number this one x1 and y1, and this one x2 and y2. So we're going to do empty brackets. I hope by now you're really into it. If you have to substitute letters with figures, you do it in an empty bracket. Good. Y2 was 1 minus 2. X2 was 6 minus 2. So the answer of M is minus 1 over 6 plus 2 is 8. So I know my gradient is minus an 8. If I've got my gradient and a point or more than 1 point, I can always do that long, nice formula that will give me the answer straight away. Now let me just give you another hint. You agree with me, this point here, the 6 and 1 is the easiest one to use because there's no minuses in it. This one here has got a minus. The B has got a minus in it. Remember, you must pick a point that falls on the line that they're asking you to find the equation of. Now, in this case, I'm not going to use the easiest one, this D. And there's a very good reason for. I worked out the D myself. Maybe I made a mistake. Maybe that should be 5 and 1 or 4 and 1 or something like that. And I didn't realize, or it could be 6 and 2 or 6, whatever. I could have made a silly mistake. So just to be safer, I'm going to pick the point minus 2 and 2. Because that is the point that they've given me, and I know if I use that point, I cannot make a mistake. So remember that in the future, once you've worked out something yourself, and there is an option of using their given stuff, rather do that in case you made a mistake. So I'm going to say y minus empty bracket, which is 2. The m is minus an 8th. X minus empty bracket, which is minus 2. And that gives me y minus 2 is minus an 8th x. That gives me a plus times a minus is a minus. And it gives me 1/4 because it's actually 2 over 8, which gives me then just 1/4. If I take the 2 over, it's plus 2 minus 1/4 is plus 1 3/4. If you check your sketch again, it's possible for that dot there to be 1 3/4. You see why I like fractions and not decimals? We can quickly go to my graph and see if it's possible, because remember, the D was just 1. So that one seems a little bit above the D. So it's possible that the y-intercept C, which I can just read off now, y is equal to mx plus c, is 1 3/4. And it seems that I've done my sum correct, which you're now going to redo and make sure that you can also do it 100% correct. After that, as always, you can check your answer, everything written out there. They use the 7 over 4. I prefer to make it 1 3/4 because then I can go and check it on my sketch. You don't know where to find 7 over 4 on your sketch, like here. So I prefer to, let's just get my pen, I prefer to rather make it 1 3/4 because then I can go and check on my sketch that I've done it correctly. Good. The last question. Determine the angle of inclination. Now you remember what angle of inclination is? It's that angle formed by the x-axis going anti-clockwise. So you agree with me? This is what they're asking, the angle of inclination. Now, the minute I read those words, angle of inclination, I know a formula for that. The formula is m is equal to tan theta. That means I can find the m if I have the theta, or I can find the theta if I have the m. Now, they're asking the theta. They're asking the theta. In other words, somehow I must have the m. Oh, but they didn't tell me the m. But luckily, you've got lots of formulae. You've got a formula, the gradient of BC. Now, I'm going to quickly show you something else that works very easily. Gradient is usually y2 minus y1 over x2 minus x1. But I'm getting lazy now to write x1, y1, x2, y2 on top of every point. So if you want to, just another option, if you name it gradient of BC, and you write down your formula, it's gradient y of B minus y of C over x of B minus x of C. If you do it in this manner, you can straight away go to point B or point C. Just remember, if you picked B first and then C on the top, you must keep the same order at the bottom. You can't swap around the bottom because then you'll have the wrong answer. Empty brackets, always when I do empty brackets. Good. Y of B is 2. Y of C is minus 2. X of B is minus 2. X of C is 6. So it gives me 2 plus 2 is 4. Minus 2 minus 6 is minus 8. It gives you minus a half. Now that is your gradient that you now found. So you found now the slope in normal figures. They want the degrees. Luckily you've got that formula. Tan theta is equal to minus a half. There's the formula on the top. I found the m now, so I can just replace it, substitute it. That's what one does with formulae. And you remember how one gets the theta all alone? You need to tell this, not clever calculator, you the clever person with it in your hand. You need to tell the calculator, I'm going to now give you a value, not a degree. So you need to click Shift tan minus 0.5 or minus a half. And that gives you minus 26.6. But remember what we said previously. Minus angles go from 0 down there. And you can easily see that angle there is definitely a minus angle because it doesn't go anti-clockwise from 0 to 90. It goes clockwise. And that's why it's a negative angle. But that's not what they want. They want the difference between that and the straight line. And therefore, as you can recall previously, we say 180 degrees minus, what was it again? 26.6 degrees. Good. And if you subtract that, it should give you 150, 3.4. We'll check just now if my counting is good enough. We'll check the answer just now. You go and redo this all on your own. Practice that shift tan so that you can get your angle. And just remember, don't give a negative angle as an answer because it's not what is being asked. They asked the angle of inclination, which is the obtuse angle, which you can see there on your sketch. Good. As normally, you go and redo it on your own, after which you only check your answer and you see, I'm right. I can actually do analytical geometry because this is one of the more difficult questions. It's combined with different things. We could have answered all the answers. So good luck, enjoy it, and I'll see you next time.